Hey, good morning. Happy Sunday morning, everyone. Typically, I do my random album wrap on Sunday mornings, but I went to a record store yesterday and picked a couple of things, so I thought I would show you those and do the wrap on Monday morning. So, sorry to disappoint all you rap fans, but we'll get it done on Monday. Took a trip to Cobourg, Ontario yesterday, which is about a half an hour west of me, where my favorite record store in the world is Zap Records. And we went to visit my daughter and granddaughter and had lunch. And my wife and our daughter and granddaughter went shopping, and I went record shopping. Met them up later. Just picked up a couple of things. I didn't have a ton of cash, but I found one thing that I've been looking for in vinyl and another kind of cool CD. So it took me 50 years to appreciate this album, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. I absolutely think it's great now. I couldn't get into it ever before. And but I did have this. I picked up quite a few years ago. I believe it's kind of a collector's item. Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. It's a 2 CD set plus a DVD audio disc of the album, and I think it's worth big money, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that. So anyway, that's what I've had, but it's sat on my shelf collecting dust forever. It's like it was like sitting beside Hackney Diamonds. And anyway, I like I've said, I kind of got into a Genesis kick through my love of Steve Hackett's playing, and decided to give Lamb another try. And for some reason, it just went click. I kind of like this album, and then I listened to it more and more, and it's outstanding. I love it. So yesterday, I found a vinyl copy of it, used in near mint condition. I paid $24 for it on the Atco label. I understand this is a reissue of some kind. I'm not sure from what year, but it sounded good to my ears. I've listened to one of the discs, one of the albums so far, and yeah, so I'm kind of excited to have that on vinyl. Next, I got there's kind of twofold thing here. Bear's Sonic Journals. I've talked about these before. They're great releases. Bear, Stanley Owsley, who was famous for his LSD, but really integral and important in the advancement of sound systems for live performances. And Bear used to be the sound man at a lot of shows, and he kept the soundboard tapes. And at some point, 5 years ago, however many years ago, somebody discovered this whole library of tapes that he had from the shows that he recorded. And I've got more than this, but this is the ones I pulled out right away. I've got this Johnny Cash one at the Carousel Ballroom. Excellent. I like this more than Folsom, Live in Folsom. It's really good. It was from April 24th, 1968. Janice and Big Brother. This one's at the Carousel Ballroom, 1968. I have, if anybody's into world music, I have this one, Ali Akbar Khan playing with Zakir Hussain at the Great Highway, May 29th, 1970. There's a whole bunch of these. I got more. I think I had Hot Tuna one. I can't remember who else, but they're all really interesting and really good. So, which leads me to this. I didn't know this was coming out. Nothing about it. The great blues guy, John Hammond Jr. I found this, Bear Sonic Journals. John Hammond, live at the boarding house, June 2nd and 3rd, 1973. Haven't opened it yet. Before I get to unboxing that, or the grand opening, John Hammond is an integral figure, a really important figure. If you're a Bob Dylan fan or a fan of the band, he pretty much got them together. When John Hammond was working on this album, So Many Roads, which is a great blues album, he invited members of the band who he was friends with to play on the album with him. also brought in Mike Bloomfield to play with him. Mike Bloomfield comes in, sees Robbie Robertson playing all these great blues licks, says, I'll just play keyboards. That's how good Robbie was at the time. Turned out to be a great album. Bob Dylan heard this, was impressed. John Hammond was telling them about the members of the band. Bob went with his, I think, secretary or Albert Grossman's secretary or something to some little club in New Jersey where the Hawks were playing, and kind of got to know them. Went to Toronto, jammed with them, and put this backing band together, which is now legendary and became the band, which is one of the great bands of all time. So John Hammond is involved in that whole history there. I got a couple other John Hammond albums that are really cool. If you're a fan of Tom Waits' music but don't like Tom Waits' voice, John Hammond put an album out called Wicked Grin. I think this is only available on CD. One reason why everybody who loves vinyl should have a CD player. He does basically a tribute to Tom Waits. Tom produced the album. He does Heart Attack and Vine, Clap Hands, 16 Shells from a 30-06, Get Behind the Mule, Jockey Full of Bourbon, Murder in the Red Barn. I mean, great stuff. It's a great album. I absolutely love this album. Another one, just he's got a ton of blues albums. There's one called Rough and Tough, which is actually in, I thought it was an SC, it's an SACD, so pretty cool. Anyway, let's get back to this. John Hammond playing guitars, vocals, and harmonica, 3 discs, 2 nights. I was like, when I saw this, I just went, what? This is incredible. Trying to get the cellophane off the baby now. Oh, it's coming. You guys have a good Sunday. There, we got it. We got it. Hardcover. Nice. Great cover on that. CD1. He does a lot of blues classics, obviously. Wang Dang Doodle, which is a Willie Dixon song. Can't Be Satisfied, Muddy Waters. Shake for Me, Willie Dixon, you know what that's going to be. Shake for Me, I Want to Be Your Backdoor Man. Robert Johnson, Honeymoon Blues, Rag Mama, Blind Boy Fuller, Sweet Home Chicago, Robert Johnson classic, King Bee, Slim Harpo, Help Me, obviously a Willie Dixon, Sonny Boy Williamson song. And yeah, so that's disc 1. Disc 2. You're So Fine, great little Walter track. Traveling Riverside Blues, we know we've heard that on a Zeppelin album too, Robert Johnson. What else is on here? You Don't Love Me. Wow, and then disc 3. So what's really cool about this is every night the sets are different. You know, sometimes you buy these sets and they just repeat the same songs every night. This has very few repeated songs. Very cool. Then there's a book with all kinds of stories in this. If you like the blues, John Hammond, fantastic release. That's great. You know what? What the hell? Let's do a random album pull. Let's do it. I'm going to be back with 10, 12 CDs. Okay, I brought 13 CDs, just in case one's a weirdo. Let's go. Oh, I love this album. Pato. Mike Pato. Who's the other Pato? I can't remember, but this is a great frickin' album. If you've never heard this band, great rock and stuff with some wacky kind of goes into some jazzy leads sometimes. I wish I could remember these dudes' names. Oh, man. I'm not going to be able to read them. I just haven't drawn a blank here, but what a great album that is. One of my favorites. This was actually a Japanese release. Everything's in Japanese. Yeah, they've had like 3 albums out, I think. But this is by far the best one. Mike Pato, great vocalist. And why can't I remember who the guitar player was? Sorry about that. Corinne Bailey Rae. I mean, I don't buy a ton of current artists. Some, and I remember turning Larry Graves onto this, and he bought this too. This was a great album. Came out in 2023, I think. It's called Black Rainbows, I believe. Yes, Black Rainbows. I should wear glasses. And really, really excellent album. This was one of the albums of the year in 2023. Ah ha ha ha. This used to be a top 10 album for me, and just so many other albums squeezed it out, but it's still like one of my all-time favorite albums. Van Morrison, Astral Weeks. An album I consider perfect. An album that came out after the album Blowing Your Mind, which had Brown Eyed Girl and He Ain't Give You None and TB Sheets. You're kind of expecting the same thing, and you bring this home and you put this on. It's Van singing these beautiful songs with this jazzy acoustic musical accompaniment, and it just works. It's absolutely the most beautiful album ever. Oh, my buddy John, Music Talk with John, is just going to love me today. I don't listen to this guy anymore at all, but I was a fan. Billy Joel's Greatest Hits, Volume 1 and 2. I don't have any Billy Joel studio albums, just comps. And this has got all the songs on it. Piano Man, Captain Jack, New York State of Mind, which is probably my favorite Billy Joel song. Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, which is probably my second favorite Billy Joel song. The guy was a talent, there's no doubt about it. And he's playing in Toronto at the Rogers Centre, which is where the Blue Jays play. Great big frickin' stadium, 60,000 people, and the tickets are outrageously priced. So obviously he's still very popular. Oh, Larry Graves is going to be happy with me today. Canned Heat, Livin' the Blues, great LA blues band. I mean, their stuff in the late 60s was absolutely incredible. This is a great album. Refried Boogie, I just love that song. It takes up the whole second side of an album, if I remember correctly. Yeah, going up the countries on this just doesn't get better than Canned Heat. Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Self-titled Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Not the first album. This one is just called CSN, I think. And it's got some great songs on it. This is like a really solid Crosby, Stills, and Nash album. Shadow Captain is a great tune. See the Changes is great. Cathedral, great song from Graham Nash. Dark Star, just a song before I go's beautiful. That's a really solid album if you ever see it in the wild. Jimmy Buffett. I was a Parrot Head. I love Jimmy Buffett, and there was a box set called Beaches, Bars, Ballads, and something bar rooms or something like that. I don't know what it's called. This is the Bars CD. There's 4 of them in a set, and it's just a whole thing of Jimmy Buffett's great songs. And Jimmy wrote some great tracks. My favorite songs on this one would be, well, Finn's was a great a song he did live. Why Don't We Get Drunk In? Pencil Thin Mustache, great song. Yeah, this might be the weakest of the 4 because the early Jimmy Buffett albums are really good. Great singer-songwriter stuff. Jimmy was should get much more respect. Ry Cooder, my favorite guitar player in the world. David Lindley, one of the great multi-instrumentalists of all time who played in Jackson Browne's band. Ry Cooder and David Lindley were great friends, played together all the time, did some tours together. I saw them in, I'm going to say, whoa, wouldn't that have been? It must have been, um, man, sometime in the 80s. They played at a little festival. It was a woman's, I can't remember, WOMAD or something it was called. And they played in a tent down by the lake. And they were frickin' loud, man. They were playing electric slide guitars all night. And remember that the big song to get everybody going was their cover of Wooly Bully, the Sam and the Pharaohs song. But here's Cooder and Lindley playing live at the Vienna Opera House. And it's so good, man. They're also accompanied by David Lindley's daughter Roseanne and Ry Cooder's very talented son Joaquin Cooder playing percussion. But they do Promised Land, Jesus is on the Main Line, Mercury Blues, Paris, Texas, All Shook Up, The Girls from Texas. Just fantastic stuff. This is actually a CDR that was given to me by my friend Edwin in Germany, who's also a big fan. Billie Holiday. I've never talked about Billie Holiday, but I loved as a. I don't like. I don't know if you call it crooner music. It's more jazzy, but I think Billie Holiday just had the greatest voice, man. She was awesome, and some of the songs, "Ain't Nobody's Business If I Do," "God Bless the Child," which was turned out to be a big hit for Blood, Sweat, and Tears. "Give Me a Pig's Foot and a Bottle of Beer." Lover Man, Good Morning Heartache. I mean, just Billie Holiday. That's a comp, but that's awesome. The Sadies, one of Toronto's treasures. The Sadies, fantastic. This is a live album in concert, Volume 1. Dallas Good and Travis Good. Fantastic stuff. My buddy Rob at Northern Revolutions, his friend Bob Egan, who was in Blue Rodeo, plays on this album. Sadly, the passing of one of the brothers, Good, and the band still carries on, but great roots rock, the Sadies from Toronto. John Renbourn. I was on a big British folk kick last year. Kind of got into Pentangle, and John Renbourn and Bert Jansch were the two. I've picked up a bunch of John Renbourn albums. Great acoustic guitarist, great stuff. The guy's amazing, and I'm a big fan. Even some new grad. Let's go to this one first. Bert Jansch, Speak of the Devil. A Rare Conundrum, great acoustic album. Bert Jansch is one of the great guitar players of all time. So influential. That's all I'm going to say. If you like Zeppelin, if you like the acoustic Stones stuff, if you like Donovan, like any of that stuff, Bert Jansch is the guy who invented that. Newgrass Revival. Oh, these guys started out in the early 70s. Long-haired guys with a real rock mentality, but they had a love of bluegrass music, and they brought a rock feel to it and high energy, great stuff, amazing players. Newgrass Revival, Sam Bush, John Cowan, Pat Flynn, and it started out as Courtney Johnson on banjo. When Courtney left, Bela Fleck joined, and that's when this live album came out. There's some incredible stuff on here. Townes Van Zant's White Freightliner Blues is absolutely incredible. A Good Woman's Love is on here. Just a great live, high energy Newgrass album. That's it. I did it. 20 minutes, 4 seconds. See you on Monday.